I work at a mid-sized grocery store chain, not glamorous, but the pay's solid and the people are tolerable. I've been there for about 5 years, long enough to know how things run, where the managers hide during rush hour and which customers will argue over a 5-cent coupon. Anyway, this story is about one coworker. Let's call him Brad. Brad was one of those guys who treated a part-time job like a networking event, always walking around with his AirPods in, chatting up managers, laughing just a little too loud at their jokes, acting like he was destined for corporate. The kind of dude who calls himself a team player, but somehow never actually helps the team. When he first got hired, I didn't think much of him. Everyone's got to start somewhere, right? But then I noticed he had this weird knack for getting perfect shifts. You know the ones, not too early, not too late, Fridays off, Sundays off. Meanwhile, I was still getting stuck with 6 a.m. opens and random midweek closings. At first, I figured it was just luck, or maybe he had an in with scheduling. But then something strange started happening. I'd go into the break room to check the posted schedule, and sometimes it wouldn't match the one I printed at home. For example, I'd swear I was off Tuesday, but suddenly I'd be scheduled for a morning shift. And every single time that happened, guess who had just magically gotten that day off instead? Yep, Brad. The first couple times, I thought maybe management changed things last minute. But when I asked, my supervisor, Karen, would check the system and say, "Nope, I haven't touched the schedule since last week." That's when I started paying attention. One day, I caught Brad in the break room, standing at the computer where we check hours. He was leaning over the desk, pretending to double-check his shift. But when he saw me, he jumped like I'd caught him stealing from the till. I didn't think much of it right then, but later that week, I noticed again my shift had been changed. His was suddenly better. Okay, fine, maybe I was paranoid. But then I overheard him bragging to another coworker. "Yeah, man, I just tell Karen I had a schedule mix-up, and she fixes it for me. Easy." So basically, this dude was running a mini scam. He claimed he was accidentally scheduled wrong, and since our manager hated confrontation, she'd just swap him into better shifts, usually mine. At that point, I wasn't mad. I was impressed, but also kinda mad. So I decided to set a trap. The next week, Karen posted the new schedule, and I made sure to take a photo at the moment it went up, time-stamped and all. I printed a copy too, just to be safe. My shifts were decent that week, so I knew it was only a matter of time before Brad fixed that. Sure enough, a couple days later, my Friday off had mysteriously turned into a mid-shift, while Brad, conveniently, was now off that day. Perfect. I waited until morning of that Friday, walked in confused, and asked Karen, "Hey, did you change my schedule again?" She checked the computer and said, "Oh, yeah. Brad said you wanted to swap with him?" "Excuse me?" I showed her the printed copy with the original times, time-stamped photo and all. She frowned, muttered something about needing to look into this, and told me to go ahead and take the day off as planned. Meanwhile, Brad came in later that afternoon, all smiles and coffee, like he was walking onto a yacht. He looked shocked when Karen pulled him into the office. Apparently, he tried to double down, said I'd asked for the swap, but when she showed him my proof, he folded faster than a dollar store lawn chair. Karen gave him a warning and told him any more confusion about schedules would go straight to HR. I thought that was the end of it. Oh no, the man doubled down. He went stealth mode for a few weeks, acting extra nice, asking everyone about their weekend plans, laughing at my bad jokes. Then, like clockwork, I noticed it happening again. Only this time, he wasn't editing mine. He was targeting other people, mostly newer employees who wouldn't notice right away. He'd swap their shift around by telling Karen they had a mix-up, and since she trusted him again, she'd go along with it. By the time I caught on, 3 different coworkers had complained about their schedules changing randomly. So I decided to end it, for good. Now, we have a group chat for our department, mostly used for people asking to swap shifts. I suggested we start double-checking the weekly schedule together before it went live, just to make sure there weren't any mix-ups. Everyone agreed, so I set the stage. The next time schedules were posted, we all took photos of our shifts and shared them in the group chat. Everything matched perfectly. I waited 3 days. And right on cue, Brad suddenly had a 3-day weekend, while I'd been added for an unexpected closing shift. I didn't say anything right away. Instead, I sent a message in the group chat. Hey guys, can someone check their schedule? Mine looks different now. Within minutes, half the team was posting screenshots, and sure enough, 3 people's shifts had changed mysteriously. That was when I messaged Karen directly. Hey, not sure what's going on, but looks like the system's changing shift again. Could someone be logging in? She replied, That's strange, I'll check the logs. Turns out, the scheduling system tracks every edit and who made it. Guess whose login had made all the changes? Brad's. Karen called him in again, except this time, HR was waiting too. He tried to say someone must have used his account, but HR already checked the timestamps. All the edits had been made from the store computer during his shifts. Apparently, he'd been sneaking in before his break, logging into the system, and swapping schedules to give himself better hours, sometimes even taking paid time off he didn't earn. They suspended him immediately pending investigation. Now, I could have left it at that. But see, Brad had one fatal flaw. He couldn't keep his mouth shut. 2 days later, he came back to grab his stuff and started complaining loudly in the break room that people were setting him up. So I, ever the helpful coworker, said, Oh, yeah, sorry you feel that way. HR asked me to send them all the screenshots from the chat. You could see the color drain from his face. He left without another word. A week later, HR confirmed what we already knew. He'd been tampered with everyone's schedules for months. He was officially terminated. Now, you'd think that's where it ends. But remember when I said I gave him the weekend of his life? Here's where that comes in. See, before he got fired, there was one final mix-up I may have. Encouraged, about a week before all this blew up, Brad was boasting about his big weekend trip. Apparently, he'd booked a beach rental with his girlfriend, and he was so proud of scoring Friday off for it. The guy wouldn't stop talking about it. Well, when I saw that he'd once again swapped my shift without asking, I might have, purely hypothetically, mentioned to Karen that Brad said he could work Friday after all, since the schedule changed. She nodded, said, Oh, okay, and updated it back to the original schedule. So Friday morning rolls around, the same Friday he was supposed to leave for his big trip. And guess who got a call at 8 a.m. asking why he wasn't at work? He showed up an hour later, sun hat in hand, looking like he wanted to crawl into a freezer. Spent the whole shift sulking while everyone quietly enjoyed the irony. He didn't even get to go on his trip. After he got fired, things at the store were peaceful again. Karen tightened up scheduling access, and no one but management could make edits anymore. We even made a little game out of Brad-proofing the office, like putting sticky notes on the break room computer that said, Smile! Brad might be watching. To this day, when someone got a random shift change, we still joke, better check the logs for Brad. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to not miss another upload.